If your sales are stalling, my first suspect is your schedule, because your calendar tells the truth about your priorities even when your mouth doesn't. Welcome back to the Moxie Movement. Awesome to have you here. Hope you are having a fabulous day wherever you are. I am coming to the end of my work day, the end of my work week, and I am very much looking forward to the weekend. This morning, jumped on my bike to go to the gym. It's not far, 6-7 minutes scooter ride. And as I was riding down, I was reminded of how often things get glamorized into all the fabulous things. We live on a tropical island, southwest coast of Thailand. The weather is warm and sunny, and we drive around on scooters, and I love my scooter, and there's something super freeing about riding a motorbike. I haven't ridden one really since I was a kid on the farm, I'll be honest, and I still love it. More than 12 months here now, and I really enjoy it. It's really easy to glamorize that. It looks fun, it looks cute, it looks cool, but when it pisses down with rain like it did today, I was like, this is the not glamorous bit of living on a tropical island and just having a scooter and not a car. I was wet before I got to the gym, and in that moment I could be totally miserable about this. It's warm rain, so that's the first one. It's not cold rain, it's proper rain. I'll be honest, when I go to the gym, I've never left there dry ever. Like, by the time I've done the first 100-meter run warm-up, I'm sweaty as. I know, not ladylike, who cares? I don't know why I worried about getting wet on the way to the gym, because I'm soaking by the time I finish my workout. I didn't even wear my rain jacket on the way home because I was like, what's the point? And reminded me of business. I think it's been really interesting to watch the journey through these really good times market-wise, economy-wise, from kind of 2012, let's say, even through COVID. Like, financially, things were good. It was cheap to get money. The governments were printing money like crazy, and everything was growing. Everyone was in an expansionary environment. Everyone was glamorizing business ownership, glamorizing how cool it was to be a business owner. Lots of content started being shared about what it was to own a business owner, all the good stuff. Here's what's all amazing. Look at my sales, look at this. And it's like my island, right? Like, it is. There are so many good bits. So many good bits about living here. Love the food, love the people, love the language. Not that I'm very good at it. Love being able to go scuba diving easily. Love the freedom that we have here. Love my scooter. But it rains. My office leaked the other day. There are creatures. Oh my God, there are creatures. There are scorpions bigger than my hand. There are leeches as long as my husband's foot. There are snakes, spiders. Like, creepy crawlers are not my thing. I'm getting better. But I come from New Zealand, people. We don't have anything that wants to eat us. My sister lives in Australia. Nope. Thailand has a fair few as well, I'll be honest. But it's like glamorizing all the great stuff about the island and forgetting to point out that there are some things that are not so great. It's the same in business. In everything, there is yin and yang, there is good and bad, there are moments that are fabulous and you can't wait to shout it from the rooftops, and there are moments that strip you down to your knee. And because I've been doing this for a little while, we got into our business in December 2007 in New Zealand, and pre that we were running a small kayaking business out here in Thailand. And it had been reasonably good. People had been moving around the world. Travel was good. 2007, we bought the boat. We lent way too much money. We were a young couple with no assets. They lent us the money to buy it, which is great because we could buy it. Otherwise, we weren't going to get it at 13.5% interest. So clearly the banks knew something we didn't know about what was coming. And then 6 months later, the depths of GFC. It was hard. There were lots of businesses having to do it really tough. Since then, it hasn't been tough, not until the last couple of years, and most people are only just feeling it now. And I think that's not been helped by the fact that we glamorize business like we glamorize living on an island. Everything has yin and yang. When you get into business, you better be ready to do both, because the external environment is not something you have control over. It's like saying, I'm only going to do business when the sun is shining. I'm only going to do business when the economy is good. It's taking the credit for a booming business when the economy is good and saying, that's all me, that's what I did. And the moment the economy gets tight, and your business isn't doing so well, you point your finger at the environment and say it's fault. It's either only always the external environments that make things good or bad, or you can change it. And you have to remember that if you can make the business work in good times, you can make the business work in bad times, because they both exist. And unless you gave total credit to the economy for your business success in the good times, you can't give total blame to the hard times in your business when the economy is tight. Don't let the external glamour of being your own boss and doing your own thing seduce you into thinking that there aren't things you have to work at on this journey. There are definitely going to be days when having a job, when someone else pays your bills, is going to be better than having a business. And that's okay. Because our job isn't to make it all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Our job is to gauge whatever is going on in our environment in the way that best gives us the opportunity to succeed. And in order to do that, we have to be really careful about our priorities. A lot of the problem right now with people's sales is actually that they're not putting any time, effort, or energy into it. They are so busy watching the news, listening to how hard it is out there. They haven't recognized that subconsciously, unconsciously, they've stopped taking the actions. They've stopped making sales a priority. They've let the noise and the environment and the market be their excuse for their sales not being any good. And yet, if I looked at the calendar, I reckon they wouldn't be spending the same amount of time, effort, and energy on the right things to get the sales that they need to get. And this is true not just of economies and markets. Are we in a recessionary or an expansionary period of time in the world economy? This is true for seasons in your business. January and February is a slow time. We literally had this conversation with clients this week. January and February is always quiet because insert reason here. That's when these people take holidays. Those things happen. And the reason they're not buying isn't because they're on holiday, it's because you're not meeting them where they're at. You didn't talk to what they desired or what they wanted. You weren't giving value for where they're at the time. When you're scheduling around the external noise that's happening in the marketplace right now, you're going to miss the opportunity to make more revenue. Instead, you want to be looking at your calendar and going, ooh, that's interesting. I haven't been doing the same marketing actions, the same sales actions I was doing back then when the economy was good. Why is that? Make sure you are looking at your calendar and deliberately scheduling towards what you're trying to build, your vision, your goals in your business, not what the marketplace is happening. I've got clients that are signing international export contracts that will completely get rid of their quiet seasons. I've got clients that have doubled their profit in the last 2 years, shared it with their employees, and increased their own salary by over $80,000. Not bad, right? I've got people that have gone from paying themselves nothing to paying themselves 6 figures in their business. In a time when everybody else is screaming about how hard it is, they're taking and keeping more of the money in their business. We've got to be really careful that we don't let the noise dictate our actions. We've got to let our vision, our mission, our values dictate what we're doing and consistently take action towards that regardless of the noise in the marketplace. The second thing I see a lot is that sales time gets left until it's needed. And by the time it's needed, we've already seen the result of not doing sales in our bank account. We don't put it in first. We put it in when we need it. If you wait until the bank account is empty, it's going to get stressful real fast. And when you try to do sales from that place of, oh dear God, there's no money, you get what we call commission breath. And it is stinky. When people feel your desperation coming through in your marketing and your sales pitch and your calls and your proposals, they back away super fast. The moment that you get grabby with your sales, it is a complete turn-off, and it's totally in your energy. It's in the way you show up. It's in the way you position it. Make sure that sales doesn't get left until last. If you find that following up proposals or quotes or Setting up your sales for January and February when it's normally quiet is the last thing on your list after you've done everything else, after you've done all of your team stuff, your customer stuff, your system stuff, your errands. You've cleaned your house before you've done your sales, right? You have a problem because sales should not be left till last. If you're someone that avoids doing activities that drive your sales, put them first thing in the morning. Do them when you're fresh. Do them when you're highly energized. Do them before you get your second coffee. You've got to stop squishing them in around everything else. They have to be a priority. They can't be left until the bank account is empty. Because, as I say all the time, your sales are a lag metric. In fact, most things in your business are a lag metric, but sales particularly. And they are a lag metric based on what you and your teams are doing, what you were doing in your marketing, what you were doing in your sales activity 30 days ago, 60 days ago, 90 days ago, 180 days ago, depending on how long your sales cycle is. The result of that shows up today. It's too late. We can't go back and change that. We're now trying to fix what we need to do going forward. So, don't wait. Do sales. Time in your calendar, chasing revenue is really important. Don't leave it till last. The other thing that I see with business owners' calendars is a complete and utter fear of being unavailable. A fear of being unavailable to your customers, your clients, your guests, a fear of being unavailable to your family, a fear of being unavailable to your employees and your contractors. And so you are always available to everybody else. And your calendar reflects that. There's no time to focus on sales. There's no time to think about the strategy. There's no time to think about January and February. I'm dealing with September. How could I possibly think about January and February right now? I'll deal with that when it comes up. Your fear of saying no to people, I'm not available, this is my sacred time. You are scared of doing that personally. You are really scared of doing that in your business because if you're not available, you're worried that something will go wrong. And I'm telling you, your need to be available all the time is what's going wrong. Because when you're available to everyone all the time, you're not being strategic and you're definitely not being focused on making sure that the sales numbers are coming in that will get you the results that you need. And that's whether you do the sales or you have a sales team doing the sales. If you do your own sales, then there definitely needs to be some time in there. If you have a team that are doing your sales, if you have employees or contractors that are doing your sales and you're the leader of the business, you have to hold them accountable. You have to focus on time to meet with them regularly. You have to focus on time to look at the numbers. Are they getting all of the resources that they need to be able to make their sales? As the owner, I'm going to bet that one of your critical success factors is your sales, and how you are spending your time is the number one marker as to whether those sales will show up or not. I know I've got a hole in my pipeline from really struggling with perimenopause, not being able to show up. I could have shown up, but I was struggling and I did not show up. There's a big gap when I was shooting my podcast, a big gap when I was putting my face on the internet, a big gap where I wasn't sending emails, big gap where I wasn't communicating with anyone. And so the sales don't come in consistently. If you want consistent sales, you've got to do consistent actions that bring them in. And if you know what the levers are, what the inputs are that deliver the sales, you must make sure that you've always got time to do it. And the very first place that's going to show up is in your calendar where you're spending your time. True for me and my coaching business. True for me and Johnny and our cruise business. If we do not make time to send emails to our database, to follow up leads that have cruised with us in the past, to talk to trade companies, if we do not make time to do that, the sales will not come. There is nothing worse than looking down a barrel of a summer season in a summer business going, well, there's not enough bookings there. And knowing that the person that could have fixed it is the woman in the mirror. Your calendar will tell you if you make sales a priority, if you make revenue a priority. And if you look at your calendar and you think, not spending any time on that in the last week, 2 weeks, 30 days, you might not have a problem yet, but you will have a problem in the future. And it's not got anything to do with the market. You need to build a revenue first calendar. If right now cash flow is a challenge, if you don't have enough sales coming in, you need to make sure that your calendar is money-making tasks first. Inside Done by 3 and the Moxie Business Advantage, we use a tool called the Power Hour. And one of the pieces of that is what we call critical success factors. And as a general rule, as the business owner, one of those will be sales. And so you must have a revenue first calendar. You must know that your critical success factors, of which sales will probably be one of them, is always happening. Build a revenue first calendar. Build sales in as one of your critical success factors and make sure those money-making tasks come first before anything else. Install some sacred time blocks. We do a minimum of 1 hour a week, planning the week in advance. And I also think that you should have some strategic thinking time or CEO time, creative time, writing time. You need some strategic, sacred time blocks in your calendar that enable you to look for solutions before you need them. I have a friend, Grant, his favourite saying is panic slowly. When something goes bad, when something goes wrong, he'll say, it's okay, we're just going to panic slowly. And it's his way of saying, take a breath, because the moment you start panicking, we won't see any solutions. And he's right. The reason that you need sacred thinking time is because if you don't have it, you're going to panic fast. You're going to get in your business and go, oh, I have to do something, anything to make this happen. Panic slowly. Keep those sacred time blocks to yourself. It allows you to think. It allows you to look forward. It allows you to look for the seasons that aren't going to work. And it allows you to strategically think about how am I going to drive revenue and how am I going to drive sales. The reason you're great at this, the reason you're good at running this business is because you are great at coming up with solutions. You've got to give yourself time and space to do that. And so often it's easy to forget that's what we're great at. We need time to be great at it. We can't jam it in around everything else. It's really hard to be creative and come up with ways to capitalize on opportunities when you're jammed full of busy work. Stop letting other people's priorities drive your plan. Stop letting what everyone else needs from you define where you're going. More than that, stop letting everybody else's stories and doom and gloom decide what you're going to do. Instead, you decide. Go, this is where I'm going. This is the vision I'm building for my business. This is why it matters. And continuously take action towards that, regardless of what everybody else is saying, regardless of what everybody else thinks they want and need from you. Because that is how you make sure that you're thriving, regardless of the season. A client, she's amazing. She's great at what she does, but she had this mental block around getting more clients and she couldn't get past this. If I could just get to this many clients, things would be better. And I'm like, you're never going to get there because you're so stressed about how much work you have to do with half that number of clients. And you're worried about burning out to get to the next one. Your calendar is telling us that you don't have the capacity. And so you will always pull away from sales until we fix that. Let's fix your capacity, which will then give you time to make sales and will stop you freaking out about delivering for these clients. She doubled the number of clients she's got. I just got a message from her today. She just signed another one today. Why? Because she built capacity into her calendar and then she deliberately made time to do that critical success factor, those revenue drivers, those money makers, and she does them consistently, daily and weekly. And it's showing. It is showing in her business almost immediately. Not quite immediately though, because remember, it's a lag metric. And she had to prioritize going out there, talking about what she does in her business, following up the sales, making the calls, chasing people when they didn't give her an answer, yes or no, because the no's lead to the yes in sales. And she's now winning at it. All because she looked at her calendar, she was deliberate about what she needed to do, and she put it in place. Here's what I'd do. If I was in your shoes and I thought, sales aren't where they need to be and I need them to be better, I would look at my calendar. If I don't track where my time goes, I'd spend a week tracking my time. And then I'd have a look at it and go, where did I spend my time? How much time on fighting fires and interruptions? And how much time on generating income? How much time on leading the sales team? How much time on strategic thinking about how we can fill our slow times? And once you've done that, rebuild your calendar. Plan next week in advance inside the Moxie world, we call it the power hour. We sit down, we spend 1 hour. It's $1 million meeting we have with ourselves every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. And we plan next week in advance. And we plan it with those profit goals in mind. How much money do I want to keep at the end of the year from this business, and how much salary do I want to get paid by this business? In order to do those things, I have to do these marketing activities, these sales activities every day before I do anything else. I have to follow up with these sales team members so that they've got everything they need to make the sales. And then when you get up on Monday morning, we just do what the calendar told us. The calendar is the boss. I know you didn't think you wanted a boss when you got out into your own business, but I promise you, you do. You want a boss. The calendar is the boss. Put your week in play and do what it says with profit at the top, money making at the top. And by doing that, you win twice. You'll get profit making tasks at the top, but you'll also protect your best brain hours like they're gold, because they are. This is an intellectual game. Business is an intellectual sport. Your ability to make great decisions and then execute on them fast is what makes you great at this or not. You already are great at coming up with solutions. We just need to make sure that you've got the time, energy, and the focus when your brain is at peak decision-making power mode to do the right things for your business from a sales point of view. If your sales are stalling, the first place I'm looking, my first suspect in this crime of sales slump, is your schedule. Your time will tell on you every time. Where are you spending it? If you're not spending it on activities that are making money in your business, that's why your sales look like that. And if you want some help with that, we do exactly that in the Done by 3 Club. We make sure that you can be present and profitable. And we do that by making sure that you know how to look after your time. It is your most important resource and the only one you're not getting any more of. If you help with reviewing your calendar and making sure that you're putting sales activities at the top so that your schedule is not my number one suspect when it comes to sales problems, find me on Instagram at Sarah Greener Coach, because there is nothing worse than opening the bank account and going, where is the money? And knowing that in this moment, past you stuffed it up. Past you didn't do the work, so today you is paying for it. And now you got to hustle. Now you got to get grabby. Now you got to get scrappy about getting some money. Sure, you can do that. Long term though, it's a really crappy way to run your business. It's tiring, it's exhausting, and it's stressful. So instead, build a revenue first calendar and smooth those sales out no matter what's going on. Till next time, stay Moxie.